it's got to be a real thing. It seems too good to not be. Yeah, I can't find it either. Oh, damn it. It better not be fake. It might be fake.
That was Joe Rogan realizing in real time that he was talking about a story and had just gone through a rant about something that didn't end up being a real story. It ended up being fake news. And I actually really particularly enjoyed watching that go down in real time because to his credit, after realizing that it wasn't a real story, he acknowledged it. I wish there was more of that going on. I don't think that he's a dishonest actor who intentionally spreads disinformation in some cases. But I thought this was an interesting moment on his podcast, okay? So what was this about? Well, he for some reason thought that Australia was preventing people from being able to grow their own food. He then went into a COVID-related rant about it, which I thought was fascinating. But then things got even more interesting when he wanted confirmation on the story. So without further ado, let's watch.
I want to find out what this is, but I read something briefly and I didn't get into the article. But they were saying that they were trying to pass a bill that would outlaw you growing your own food in Australia.
Oh my God.
Did you read that?
No.
And they were saying, well, you could grow your own food, and what if the disease is from your food? It infects the population, kills us all.
Oh,
we can have that.
Oh, they pulled that card.
I want to know what their justification was, but I'm pretty sure it had to do with like agricultural contamination or, like, I mean, you could justify it if you're a real piece of shit. These creeps, they got a good grip on people during the pandemic. They locked everybody down in Australia, and then you know what? We're gonna stop these motherfuckers from growing their own food, because that's how you smoke out an anti-vaxxer. Yeah. You can't even go to the grocery store anymore, and you can't grow your food.
No, dependent.
Okay, so the second part of this is even better. We'll get to it in a second, but I have to comment on that. In California, which is one of the states that had, I guess, some of the more strict guidelines, I never once walked into a grocery store where I was approached by someone saying, you can't be here unless you show proof of vaccination.
Yeah.
Did that happen at all?
No, I don't.
No, you gotta wear a mask.
Maybe one company, I can't say, but I've never seen that.
My vaccine card was checked twice. In California, literally twice. One time at this place called the Baked Potato, which is the bomb. It's like a super old school. It's been around since I think like the 1960s, if not the 1970s. And they have like live jazz music, and their whole menu is baked potatoes.
That's the awesome. Weirdest combination ever.
Yeah,
I need to see that.
They wanted proof of vaccination because it's a small, intimate setting with a lot of people like jammed in there. So I get it. Okay, no problem. Here's my vaccination card. And by the way, this is not something that I need to do to survive. It's something that I'm doing for entertainment and fun. The second time was at a restaurant called Gino's East, which is also delicious. But that was it. That was it. Those were the only inconveniences. There was never a moment where I was like, I am going to die because I refuse to get vaccinated and I don't have access to basic necessities as a result.
You're saying that, but what you're saying doesn't make me feel like a victim and superior at the same time. So I'm gonna shut out what you said and believe the thing that makes me feel both aggrieved but also dominant simultaneously. So stupid. They weren't like an old woman's just trying to get into a Vons and they're like, get out of here if you don't have your card, you old bag. That didn't happen, dude, come on.
No, but what's also amazing is like, look, there are, as we know, there weren't government vaccination mandates, right? Like there were for public employees, like government workers on a federal level, but even like Biden's short-lived vaccine mandates, which had all these loopholes, it didn't.
They had testing.
They had,
like you could do testing instead.
You could do testing instead. You could say that you have like a religious belief that prevents you from getting vaccinated. We know about all the loopholes, and we also know that like if it's a small company, they don't have to deal with any kind of mandate. My point is, Joe Rogan works for Joe Rogan, like he's the boss. So it's not like he's working for a company that has a vaccine mandate. Like it just amazes me because the people who are honestly largely like unaffected, like not affected at all by any type of like mandate or guideline, they tend to be the ones that were like most aggrieved. And it's like, your life seems pretty normal. Like even as the pandemic continues, why are you so angry? It
was aggrieved by proxy. They were aggrieved for their audience members so that they would love them. That's why it was. They didn't actually care. They were being performatively aggrieved, performatively victims. Really fast, just so that we don't buzz by it though. I mentioned something during that first clip. Everything that he just said was kind of crazy. I like that he finally admitted that he was duping himself with the story.
We'll get to that.
But I love that he said, this story is so crazy, it's gotta be true.
No, I love it.
That's not how that works. That's the opposite of how it works.
No, I know.
And it rung a bell for me, and so I Googled it, and this is how comical it is to act that way. There's a line from the Summer of George episode of Seinfeld where Kramer talks about Raquel Welch dropping lights on people's heads. And then he says, a story like that has gotta be true. It's literally a Cosmo Kramer line that he said in all seriousness. No, this is so crazy. There's no way it's not what I want it to be.
I also like that he prefaced it by saying, like, I read a headline briefly, I didn't really get into the article, and then he goes on to his rant, right?
Yeah.
Which,
but
by the way,
shouldn't you have?
To be fair, not to Rogan, because he's got to, like, dude, if you're gonna engage in this rant, like, it's almost as if he doesn't understand. You have the largest podcast. So if you're gonna like share something as if it's fact and you're gonna get all worked up about it, you gotta do a little more than just, I saw a headline, I didn't really get into the article, I looked at it briefly. Like, maybe look at it a little bit more before you, engage. But anyway, fine. Putting that aside, we got to get to the second half of this.
Okay.
Because he wants to get into it while he's on his show, and so he asks Jamie, his producer, to pull it up. Here's what happened.
Did you find anything?
You are now dependent upon the state.
Passes bill.
I know what to look for. I'm just nothing is coming up. The closest thing I could find was something like this. That's not
new food. No, it's not.
Saying.
It's not New Zealand. It's in Australia.
I know, but this is close.
New Zealand is like right around the corner.
Could have.
It's got to be a real thing. It seems too good to not be.
It's obviously.
I typed in outlaw growing food in Australia, and not a single thing comes up.
Hold on.
Except for that, which was a false thing.
Yeah, I can't find it either.
Oh,
damn it. Better not be fake. It might be fake.
But even if it's fake, right? Like the fake is usually the warning.
Oh my God.
What?
It's foolproof. It's foolproof.
The fake is usually the warning. So we're gonna get into who that guest was in a second. But before we do, briefly.
Yeah, so the fake is the warning. So like you realized what you were just spreading makes no sense.
Yep.
And by the way, like, so we care whether what we say is true or not.
Yeah, I don't want to misinform people.
Exactly, we shouldn't assume that everyone actually cares about that would bother them. Or alternatively, like if you were to sort of like casually mention something, but you didn't make a big deal out of it, I wouldn't be as aggrieved. But Rogan was going off about how they're doing this to starve anti-vaxxers.
Yes.
Like he didn't just mention this as a throwaway thing, he went all in on this thing. And now you realize it's fake. And even that, the fake is the warning. So because someone to make money wrote a fake article to bamboozle people like you, well, that's like Nostradamus, that's the warning. I mean, if a grifter will make money off of rubes, then that clearly is something Australia is really gonna do.
So the guest, the person who said the fake is the warning is Hotep Jesus. His real name is Brian Sharp, and I'm gonna continue calling him Brian Sharp because Hotep Jesus is just, I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, he actually believes in all sorts of conspiracy theories, apparently. He regularly denounces Black Americans for creating a false sense of victimhood. He has a long record of spouting anti-Jewish conspiracy theories and even defending the white nationalists at the Charlottesville rally where they were chanting, "The Jews will not replace us." He has said that the LGBT community and Jews are the rulers of the United States, a real classy guy. And he's also part of the so-called Hotep movement, which known for its embrace of pseudo-history about Egypt and its general neglect of the rest of Africa, the Hotep movement is relatively new. A significant portion of self-identified Hoteps have so much in common with far-right white nationalism, a deep hatred of feminism, and a love for anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, among other things, that the group has been dubbed the Ankh Right by some of its black critics. Great, I always love hearing about new conspiracy groups peddling hateful stuff about black people and Jewish people, fun. But anyway, look, I commend him, and I mean Rogan here, for acknowledging, oh, it turns out that this is fake. But it's scary, right? Because this isn't the first time that he has come across some headline or a fake news article and just decided to repeat it on his show, but didn't correct the record, didn't realize it was a fake story. And at the same time, he used to have a variety of guests. So he would have different perspectives represented on his show. That's what made his show interesting. That's why I was able to stomach it when he had crazy people on, because I'm like, all right, whatever, at least I'm getting a sense of what the other side is talking about. Now it's just this, it's this all the time.
That's what his audience wants, and he knows that. That's what he's comfortable with.
Great.
But yeah, like him seeing the headline, not caring enough about it to read into it, but simultaneously caring it enough to make it core to his political ideology is the fundamental problem with him. It is a complete lack of filter via critical thought. This feels good, so it's got to be true is not just true of Joe Rogan. It's just most important that it's true of him because he has the audience. For so many people, they have now been trained by the media and by politicians to just accept whatever it is that feels good. To not accept anything that like, oh man, I would have to change or we'd have to do something. I have some responsibility, there's an ethical, like none of that. Just take whatever feels good. And so the issue isn't that he got that story wrong, it's that he will not tomorrow go to work with any more critical thought or any more of a shield against misinformation and fake news. He's just gonna careen into the news once again. And for all the people, by the way, who watched 30 minutes of his rant about how you can't grow food and then stopped watching that episode, is he gonna like make sure over the next few that they get that that was wrong? No, the misinformation is gonna stick. He's just gonna move on to something else.
That's right.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.